He survived her deadliest trap. She watched in awe. Zara pressed her clawed fingers against the cold metal observation window and watched the human male stumble through her maze. The creature called himself Jake and claimed to represent something called Earth. His pale skin glistened with sweat as he navigated the twisting corridors she had designed specifically to break lesser beings. For 3 rotations, she had studied the recordings of human combat from their recent conflicts. Every species the Catherian Empire had conquered possessed predictable weaknesses. Humans should have been no different. Yet this Jake person continued to defy her calculations. The maze stretched across 5 levels of her research facility on the moon Xerion Prime. Each section contained traps that had successfully eliminated warriors from 12 different star systems. Plasma torrents, gravity wells, neural disruptors, and predator beasts from the outer rim colonies all waited within those corridors. Zara had expected the human to last perhaps 1 rotation at most. Her superiors in the Empire demanded proof that humans posed no threat before the planned invasion of their homeworld. She intended to provide that proof by demonstrating how easily their species could be broken. The human had already survived longer than any previous subject. Jake paused at the entrance to Sector 7 and examined the walls with those strange blue eyes. Humans possessed remarkably poor vision compared to most species, yet he seemed to notice details that escaped even her advanced sensors. He traced patterns in the metal paneling that she had not intended to be visible. The next chamber contained her pride. 3 Xerion hunting beasts circled in the darkness, each one capable of tearing apart a Catherian warrior. Their acidic claws could slice through battle armor, and their thermal vision made hiding impossible. No creature had ever escaped that room alive. Jake stepped forward and the door sealed behind him. Zara leaned closer to her monitors, expecting to witness the swift end of her experiment. Instead, she watched something impossible unfold. The human did not run or try to fight the beasts directly. He stood perfectly still in the center of the chamber and began making soft clicking sounds with his mouth. The Xerion hunters froze, their heads tilting as they processed these unfamiliar vibrations. Zara checked her audio readings. The human was somehow mimicking the mating calls of Xerion females with nothing but his vocal cords. The massive predators, confused by the sounds, began circling each other instead of their intended prey. Within moments, they were engaged in territorial displays while Jake calmly walked past them to the exit. Her data logs showed no record of humans ever encountering Xerion beasts before this moment. How could he possibly know their behavioral patterns? The answer should have been simple. He could not. Yet somehow he had observed, analyzed, and exploited their instincts in mere seconds. The next 3 chambers proved equally futile. Jake disabled her gravity traps by jamming small pieces of debris into the field generators. He navigated her neural maze by following air current patterns that revealed the safe path. When her automated defense turrets activated, he used reflective surfaces to redirect their targeting systems against each other. Each solution demonstrated knowledge and skills that his species supposedly did not possess. Zara began reviewing her intelligence reports about human capabilities. Perhaps the Empire had underestimated them. The final chamber contained her masterpiece, a puzzle that required understanding 14 different alien mathematical systems, combined with physical challenges that tested strength, speed, and endurance simultaneously. The only way to survive was to think like multiple species at once while performing tasks that pushed biological limits. She had designed it to be literally impossible for any single mind to solve. Jake entered the chamber and paused to survey the complex array of symbols, mechanisms, and obstacles before him. Zara activated her detailed scanners, determined to record exactly how long it would take for him to admit defeat. The human began working immediately. His hands moved across the control surfaces with fluid precision, while he simultaneously navigated the physical obstacles. Zara watched in growing amazement as he solved sections of the puzzle using methods she had never considered. Where she expected him to use Catherian logic patterns, he employed something entirely different. His solutions were not just effective. They were elegant in ways that made her own work seem crude by comparison. He was not thinking like the species whose mathematical systems she had incorporated. He was thinking like a human, and somehow that was superior to all of them. The final barrier required lifting a massive stone block while inputting a complex sequence at the same time. The weight was calculated to exceed human physical limitations by a significant margin. Jake examined the mechanism for several long moments, then did something unexpected. He began to sing. The melody was unlike anything in Zara's cultural databases. It possessed a rhythm that seemed to synchronize with the chamber's resonant frequency. As his voice filled the space, the stone block began to vibrate. The vibrations grew stronger until the massive weight lifted itself, supported by acoustic resonance alone. Jake calmly input the final sequence and stepped through the opening door. Zara stared at her displays in complete silence. Every assumption about human capabilities had proven false. Their intelligence was not inferior. It was fundamentally different in ways that made them unpredictable and incredibly dangerous. Their physical limitations could be overcome through creativity and understanding of principles her own science had not yet discovered. The door to her observation chamber opened, and Jake entered. He was no longer the struggling creature she had been studying. Something in his posture and expression had changed during his passage through her maze. He looked directly at her monitoring equipment, as if he could see through the walls. "Hello, Zara," he said calmly. "I know you can hear me." She activated her communication system with trembling claws. "How do you know my name? How did you know I was watching? Your maze was impressive, but it revealed more about you than you probably intended. The way you designed each challenge showed me how your mind works. You think in patterns that follow specific rules. Humans are good at recognizing patterns." Jake moved closer to her hidden position. "You built this to prove we were weak. Instead, you proved something else entirely. You proved that when humans are pushed to their limits, we become more than what we were before." Zara felt something she had never experienced in all her cycles of life. Genuine fear mixed with admiration. The human had not simply survived her deadliest trap. He had transformed himself by conquering it. The creature that emerged was more capable and dangerous than the one that had entered. "What happens now?" she whispered. "Now you have a choice. You can report to your empire that humans are easy prey, or you can tell them the truth. We are not like the other species you have conquered. We adapt. We grow stronger under pressure. We find solutions that should not exist." Jake paused at the chamber exit. "If your people come to Earth expecting to find victims, they will discover something else entirely. They will find humans who have been pushed to their limits and emerged transformed, just like I did in your maze." The door closed behind him, leaving Zara alone with her impossible data and a decision that would determine the fate of two civilizations. She looked at her reports and began deleting sections. Her superiors would receive a very different analysis than the one she had originally planned. The human had survived her deadliest trap, and in doing so, he had shown her something about his species that would change everything. The invasion of Earth would not proceed as planned. Zara would make sure of that. She had witnessed something remarkable in those corridors. The birth of a legend. Jake had not simply escaped her maze. He had proven that humans possessed something her empire had never encountered before. They possessed the ability to become more than they were when faced with the impossible. And that made them the most dangerous species in the galaxy.